Hello everyone, welcome to the latest TM Brunsdon market update. I hope that you're all keeping safe and well during these very strange times. I'm pleased once again to have with me Jonathan Webster-Smith, who's the investment manager at Brooks Macdonald, and who will be answering a few topical questions. Welcome, Jonathan.
Hi, Brian.
COVID cases are picking up. What effect is this having on markets, and do you think that technology stocks will take the lead for a second time if restrictions increase?
Yeah, well, I'm obviously very topical with news, particularly in the UK, but really globally as well, because obviously we've got cases picking up in Mexico, America, the Nordic countries, France, and other places in Europe. So it's not really just talking about the UK, but clearly, if we use that, what we're seeing here is greater restrictions, and the impact on the market has clearly been negative. What I would say is clearly it is not a new and unexpected shock to the market, which it was perhaps in February and March, where we saw the market dive down, up to 40-45%, where the health crisis was spinning into a financial crisis. Yes, the health crisis is back. I don't think that's unexpected. We're prepared. We've planned for it. There's capacity as we stand currently within the NHS. So I would hope the limit on the downside to the markets is fairly muted. We should remember a lot of the stocks, more value-based stocks, haven't recovered. We're very familiar with talking about the technology companies that have recovered. But a lot of the companies are still 20, 30, 40%, banks and financials still perhaps even 50% down. So there's, they are already suffering and remain suffering. So clearly they're not going to improve in situations like this. So we need the health situation to improve, to get GDP data back up, to get economic activity back up. We would expect to see more government support coming, across the globe. Technology has obviously had an incredibly good run. The more we work from home, the more people use cloud-based facilities, the more activity and sales activity we're going to see through technology companies. They have come off. There's a lot of hot money has gone into technology, and we saw that with the sort of 30 billion of options that went into the big 5 tech companies. So yes, there is some day-to-day price volatility. They're still up an incredible amount for the year, and I was just reading this morning, Microsoft is adding more cloud functionality each month than it had in total 3 years ago. So cloud technology is not going away, and I would say to you that the technology and companies with a technology focus and an online focus should come through this probably better than those that can't.
Okay. Which leads me nicely on to the question of diversification. We've spoken before about the benefits of diversifying. Is this working, and what has been the impact on the BAM funds?
I mean, diversification, it depends on the time period, but if you're looking over a year, 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, you would argue absolutely diversification has worked. There are periods, and we had that in March, where diversification doesn't work. Every equity market pretty much fell around 45%. So clearly it didn't matter what equities you were in March, they all went down. And what we've subsequently seen, of course, is those where the profits and sales activity is increasing have rallied, and those have not. So once again, if we look at the results or the markets in August, absolutely diversification is working. We had a really good run in UK small caps. Emerging markets didn't have such a good run. Fixed interest didn't have such a good run. But generally sort of risk assets, we also saw the dollar and yen appreciate. So, it absolutely has smoothed out the investment returns. And we've seen that in the months, if you like, taking March out, April, May, or particularly sort of May, June, July, and August, we've seen diversification. So what it has done is it's very much smoothed the investment returns for your investors. And what it makes sure is that risk is diversified, over a large number of sectors, and it isn't just concentrated in one particular area. So if it is an issue, obviously it's not felt quite so broadly. So yes, I would argue at this stage in the market, it is working.
Okay, good. Last question today is with regard to the USA, and of course the US Supreme Court vacancy looking to be filled ahead of the election. How does this change your thinking, if at all?
Well, I mean, the Supreme Court justices again are very, very political hot topics for politics in the States. So, and if we weren't talking about COVID, I'm absolutely convinced that we would be talking more about the US elections and Brexit. So, the US election, Trump is clearly fighting around the economy. If we went back to January, he was probably, more a clear cut that perhaps he would win a second term as unemployment was at a record low. Market was flying. Clearly, the COVID handling of the situation has perhaps changed that and made it a much more even playing field. So therefore, appointing a Supreme Court justice not only gives them the sort of political edge, in other words, they can choose the persuasion of the Supreme Court justice, but it will also mean that he can pick areas that perhaps suit him. So, I understand his main choice will help him with the rustic belts, and the second choice, she would perhaps shore up some votes around the Florida area. So, yes, it is. However, we should remember that it's not a clear cut that he will be able to do this. Obama clearly tried for his election and failed to get the justice approved. So whilst, of course, I think it will, if Trump can get it through, I would expect it to be favourable to Trump and perhaps, push things in his direction a bit. But, politicians coming up to an election tend to have a bit more self-interest than party interest, perhaps. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be, very close given, the impact that COVID is having on the economies and unemployment. So.
Okay, well, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for those insights, and thank you all very much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, then please be in touch with us. Thank you.